Hi, welcome to part 2 of my Cyclekart build. Right, so the last couple of days I've been working on the suspension on the front, all the axle and the stub axles. So you can see on this front suspension, taking the frame rails down up to here and then made up these curved sections here. It's just 2mm thick alley, and I've got 3 sheets in here, so one on either side, and I've got one down the middle just for maximum strength. And on the front here I machined up a piece of billet here, stepped it down, drilled a hole through and threaded the inside of that to take this bolt here, and this is a section of tubing. So I've stepped down there, just sort of presses into that tubing, hold all that tight. So you can see those front springs mount on there. So that looks kind of like the front of a Bugatti. This is going to be a bit of a loose interpretation of a Bugatti, but let's see how we go. For the springs, everyone's always asking where you get springs from. And on most cycle carts people get the buggy springs, or get them custom made. I thought I'd make use of some old springs I've got. So these, I had some old worn out Austin 7 rear springs, the quarter elliptical springs. So they've got an eyelet on one end and nothing on the other end, so to mount the rear end I've done it just as the Type 35 Bugatti has got it. So I've machined up this piece of aluminium. It's all stuff I got from a scrapyard. Luckily this was nice thick stuff with a hole already in it. So I've just machined a slot in the front here, welded it onto this 10mm thick piece of alley here, cut all this out. So the spring mounts in here. A little bit of play movement in there, but I'll probably pack that out with some rubber or leather or something like that, just to make that a tight fit in there. And obviously as the spring goes up and down, it moves in and out a little bit, so there's room there for it to move. It's probably going to be quite a firm ride on this spring, so it's not going to move a lot. But to soften the spring, if it is too hard, I could probably cut a little strip off the edge of the spring just to weaken it slightly and give it more flexibility. But that'll be something for once I've got it up and running. So hopefully that's all going to work nicely. Should be strong enough, I think. Yeah, these just bolted straight through on here. Now to bolt things through a box section, because when you bolt through there you can end up crushing the box section. So I've got some thick walled 8mm internal diameter aluminium tubing, which I haven't done it yet, but I'll drill out one side to take the tubing so it goes all the way through, weld it up so that when you tighten the bolt up it doesn't crush the box section. I think that'll work. And you can see the stub axles here. Move on to those. Let's take that off. There we go. Alright, so this is just a piece of 17mm hardened steel bar. I've machined it down, tapped the thread on the end, and welded it into this plate here. To top and bottom, bolt going through the middle there. Nylon bushes, that's all the Gemini Kart front axle. Yeah, so that's good. And then with these with these wheels here, when you buy these wheels they come with a bearing installed, and it's got I think it's a 14mm internal diameter. So you need to buy some new bearings with a 17mm, which I think is the larger size you can get for these bearings. So you want to get the maximum size for maximum strength. Here's what's welded on there. I've just machined up a little ring, a little step on here just to add some more strength around that base there. And that's good. Also, I've set the point back here where the track rod arm's going to go. Set it slightly back from the point of pivot just to cater for your Ackerman angles, so you minimise the scrubbing in your turning radiuses. And obviously I haven't mounted these yet, but I had to weld a plate onto the axle and then bolt it through with some U-bolts or U-clamps somehow. I want to do it in such a way that I can adjust the caster angle, so you can rotate the axle slightly just to set up your caster angles, just so it steers nicely and goes in a straight line. Yeah, now to get these wheels closer, I'm using this side as the internal side and the old mounting points here to be on the outside. So I'll probably make up like an aluminium hubcap of some sort to go on the outside here, and that'll go on there. So that's all looking good. Yeah, so the chassis is pretty much there. Got all these bearing plates here, so those the pillar blocks will mount on the bottom of here. So hopefully this will all be strong enough. And I've got to figure out how to mount this sucker on the chassis. So with a moped engine, the mounting's on the top here. So there's a mounting point on the engine here, and you have this bracket which comes over, another mounting point there. And there would have been a mounting point on the back here. So I'm probably going to have to make some scaffolding up here somehow, just to mount the front of the engine, and then the rear here. I'll probably use one of these rubber mounting plates, mount that under the back somehow, just so it bolts into the casing on the back here, and I think that should be strong enough. Also, I'm making up the drive flange, this bit here, so you can see that's got splines in it, and those will go on the splines on this drive shaft here. I'll go in there, and then I've got the small sprocket which will go on here somehow. But the problem I've got at the moment is this sprocket's made out of some seriously hard metal. You can see I had a go at it with some tungsten carbide bits on my lathe, and it just skimmed around on the surface. So I'm going to have to find a way of machining that out somehow. It'll have to be ground out, I think. I might get back on the internet and see if I can find a sprocket with a larger internal diameter, just so it's large enough to fit over the drive shaft there. So yeah, I'll get on the internet tonight. But yeah, that's how I'm doing. So it's not bad for 4 days work. It's coming along quite nicely. Okie dokie, out for now.